Most people think that once you get a green card, you're safe forever. But here's the shocking truth. Even lawful permanent residents, people who live in the US for decades, can be deported. And sometimes it's for reasons that you'd never expect. So let me explain. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Natalie Driver-Womack. I'm an immigration attorney. And in today's video, I'm going to debunk myths, correct conjecture, and tell you exactly when a green card holder can be deported and what to do to protect yourself and your family. By the end of the video, you'll know the biggest mistakes to avoid and how to keep your legal status safe. To debunk myths and to challenge conjecture, you have to be rooted in law and facts. So we're going to talk about the legal requirements for an individual to be deported if they are a green card holder. The word that will guide us is the word scam. S will deal with security and terrorism, C is criminal convictions, A is for abandonment, and M is for misrepresentation. So let's talk about the security and terrorism. This might seem obvious, but it can be a little bit more complicated because, yes, social media can play a part. Any links to terrorism or national security threats can make someone deportable. The government just doesn't look at the actions. They also look and review your online activity, associations, and posts. So let's give an example. A donation. You donate to a charity that later turns out to be tied to a group on the U.S. terrorism watch list. This could trigger removal. So online posts and shares. Sharing or liking extremist content on Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Things that possibly you didn't truly read, but they can raise red flags. Let's say you repost a video that glorifies violence or extremism. This also can raise red flags. So overall, any association, any clicks that you do, please be mindful of what you're doing. A simple click and a simple association can challenge your immigration status. So the next one is criminal convictions. The overarching principle here is don't assume. So there's certain crimes like aggravated felonies or crimes of moral turpitude, which I'll elaborate on later. They can trigger deportation. And it doesn't always mean something extreme. So the word aggravated felonies, this doesn't just mean a violent crime. With immigration law, it defines things like drug trafficking, a certain theft, or burglary convictions, or even tax fraud. These are deemed aggravated felonies. A permanent resident convicted of selling a small amount of drugs, even marijuana, could face deportation. Now, the crimes involving moral turpitude, these are crimes that the government says show bad character, and that's lying, cheating, and stealing, and that equates to fraud, theft, or assault with the intent to harm. For instance, another example is a green card holder engaging in shoplifting. This can also be crimes against moral turpitude. Here's the thing, people are often surprised about the minor offenses. They can end up being major consequences for immigration. So please be mindful and do not assume. So A stands for abandonment of your residence. This surprises a lot of people. But if you leave the US for too long, the government can argue that you've given up your residency. So if you're a green card holder and you spend more than 6 months at a time outside of the US, they will question you upon your reentry. Over 12 months without a reentry permit can be treated as abandoning your residency. So here's an example. Someone goes home to take care of their sick parent and they stay for over a year, not really intending to. Without getting a reentry permit, when they come back into the US, they will be questioned about their intent to remain and their intent to be a US citizen. So evidence of your intent is very important. The government looks at things like, did you keep a US address here? Did you file taxes? Do you have a job? Do you have a bank account here in the US? A person that spends the majority of their time outside of the US, files taxes in another country, or rents their US home, those are all signs that they do not plan to permanently live in the US. Now, just know that with your travel plans, they are flexible, but you do have limitations. And there's a 6-month window. Once you get past there, then there will be questions. The US wants to know that this is truly your permanent home. So misrepresentation and fraud. If you lied to get a green card, like through the marriage-based process, or even left out key details on your application, the government can revoke your status. So let's talk about marriage fraud. If you married someone only to get a green card and the government finds out, that person can be deported and permanently barred from coming back. Another example could be that a couple stages a fake wedding, fake papers, and then in a USCIS interview, they're separated and their stories don't match. Again, this can result in deportation. Now, misrepresentation on the forms can also result in deportation because it's big consequences. For example, if you failed to mention that there was a visa denial for another country or a criminal conviction, or USCIS or the consular discovers that there's some form of misrepresentations, this also can result in your green card being revoked. Omissions count as lies in the immigration world. Leaving out something can be very serious, as if you made it up.